Welcome to Rock Band Blitz, an Xbox Live Arcade game that's primary purpose is not to entertain you, but instead to further justify the embarrassing number of Microsoft points you've already blown on Rock Band DLC. Fortunately, by what we can only assume was a complete accident on the part of Harmonix, it's also an enormously entertaining rhythm action game. And while it asks you to become a one-person band, it doesn't require you to add another plastic instrument to the closet full you probably already have. It's a good job too, my cupboard was starting to look like a Fisher-Price My First Hard Rock Cafe. What it does require, however, is some adjustment to how you approach a rock band track, and your early high scores will likely be frustratingly low. That's where Overachiever comes in, giving you a quick leg up so you can start winning those score wars. The first and most important thing is not to linger on a single instrument for too long. You only have a limited time between checkpoints to increase the multiplier on every instrument, and tempting as it is to stay on a highway when you're in rhythm, if you neglect one or more instruments it'll hold your progression back.
Do you have to? Do you have to? Do you have to let it linger?
No, Dolores O'Riordan of the Cranberries, were you not listening to a word I just said? Anyway. It's worth mentioning a common misconception. Many players worry about switching tracks when Blitz is activated because they think changing lanes stops the streak. It doesn't, but you have to make sure that you don't miss a note on either track as you make the switch, so when you're in Blitz, look for gaps in the notes and make the leap then. Another way you can avoid getting caught short when the checkpoint arrives is to know your songs. Vocals and keyboard parts in particular tend to drop out at the most inopportune moments, leaving you unable to increase the multiplier before the next checkpoint arrives. You can mitigate this a bit, either by learning through repeated play, which is a pretty good tip for all score chasing games, or by playing tunes you already know inside out. All this is just a warm up for the main factor in Rock Band Blitz's success, power-ups. It's difficult to give a definitive loadout because much of it depends on the arrangement of the song and your skills as a player. The jackpot power-up will earn you tons of points, for example, but only if you can hit every note in a set. If you're a new player, Bandmate, which will rack up every point on a particular instrument for you, is probably a better bet. Similarly, Blast Notes subtly helps new players because they're spread across all of the instrument lanes, and unlike the pinball power-up, force you to switch tracks in a way that is usually reasonably practical and can be anticipated ahead of time. Remember though, unlike dust, toenail clippings and unfortunate spiders, power-ups don't exist in a vacuum. Bandmate and a super instrument power-up, for example, are a good combination because you can ensure you always deploy Bandmate on that instrument and take advantage of the extra point. Though it's worth mentioning in that scenario, the points on the results screen are folded into the Bandmate's score. Bandmate and Blast Notes, on the other hand, can cause problems, because if you're in Blitz when a Bandmate hits a Blast Note and removes the notes ahead of you on your instrument, you'll lose your streak. There are also nuances to the power-ups themselves. Here's a tip direct from Harmonix. If there's a multiplier just out of reach over the checkpoint marker, try firing the bottle rocket power-up at it. If your aim is true, you can earn the multiplier even though you haven't crossed the line yet. Finally, this wouldn't be Overachiever if we didn't at least point you in the direction of some gamer score. So for 10 easy G in a matter of minutes after booting up the game, aim for the Shredder achievement. This is awarded for a 100% perfect guitar solo, something that would be a challenging prospect were it not for the existence of Give It Away by Red Hot Chili Peppers. The short guitar solo about 1 minute and 40 seconds into the song is insultingly easy, so fire up the tune and keep an eye on the yellow guitar highway. It's certainly a better bet than trying it on Spoon Man by Soundgarden. So there you go, well worth your time and Microsoft points. In fact, the included soundtrack is so stellar, even if you don't fancy the game itself, it's worth just buying it as the Rock Band 3 track pack it also functions as. Right, I'm off to have creative differences with myself. See you next time on Outside Xbox.